Welcome to Final Look, brought to you by the Edamame Anime Club. I'm Steve, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Alexander, great to be here.
Always great to be here. Oopsie.
All right.
Kanpai. And what Final Look is, where we look at the series finale of an anime, and we say our farewells to that series. And this one, we have a great one. This episode, we are going to do the anime with the greatest Riz Master to ever exist.
Greatest Riz Master.
The Rizzler of all anime.
Yeah. We're going to be doing Attack on Titan, the final season, the final chapters, part 2.
Sorry, I was wondering when it was going to end. It's long. Yeah. So we didn't do one on part 1, but really it was the way they broke this anime down was kind of frustrating for me.
Yeah.
I would have loved for them just to release season, another whole season, and they could have broken it down into like 6 episodes.
Yeah, it took them over 3 years to finish the final season, and it just kept going and going and going. And you can tell by the way this is named. It was like the final season 1 or part 1, and then season 2, and then it was the final season, chapter 2. Final chapters or whatever it's called. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. I really not sure what happened with that. I don't know anything background on that part of it, but really I did not like that they did it that long. This anime has been running for 10 years. It started April 2013, I believe, and it's ran till now.
Yeah. It started in January 2020. That was season 4.
Season 4, yeah.
No, 2013 is when it started. You're right. April 2013.
Yeah, April 2013. So it's been running for 10 years. Let's talk a little bit about that real quick. Who introduced you? Did I introduce this anime?
Yeah, you were talking about it to me for a good while, and I started watching it. I think season 2 had just started coming out whenever I watched season 1.
Yeah, I picked this anime because I saw a lanyard at Hot Topic, and it's like that famous picture of Eren with the gear, and he's looking up at like a Titan.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's the armored Titan. I can't be totally sure, but it was a lanyard, and it had the back end, and it looked just like this with that picture on it.
Yeah.
And that's why I picked it up. Also, there was a girl that I was really interested in it, and she mentioned it, and I was like, well, I gotta watch it so I can talk to her at work about it. So that was kind of a why I got into it, and I'm glad you got into it too. There's a lot of ups and downs on this anime. Really, it had a season that I really don't like, but it's like super important to the plot.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the royalty arc. To me, it was kind of like not for me.
I had to read, and I still don't quite understand what it was going for. Like, we're talking about like Historia, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a little. I needed more elaboration on it to really get it, but that's part of it. And we've done anime that were really confusing. Serial Experience Lane. Neon Genesis is pretty confusing. Yeah. There's a couple other ones that are really confusing, and they do tell a good story. Now, granted, I think this one was a little far-fetched, and it did kind of get away from what I was expecting from this end.
It gets very convoluted by the end.
Yeah. All right, so you got any information on this? Just give the name of like the director and things like that, and a little bit of background on the anime if you can.
Yeah. So I know that they replaced one of the designers for the final season. There's just so many names here. So it's directed by Jun Shishido and directed by Yuichiro Hayashi, who replaced Tetsuro Araki and Masashi Kozuya, respectively, as scriptwriters. And Hiroshi Seko fully took over the series composition from Yusaku Kobayashi. So they basically like replaced a bunch of people to make this final season that were in production of the previous seasons.
Interesting.
So yeah,
that's probably why it took so long to make.
Yeah, I could see that. I guess season 4 covers chapters 91 through 106 of the manga, which is the Marley chapters, and then chapters 107 to 139, which is the War for Paradise.
Okay.
And so yeah, and also for those that don't know, the manga writer is Hajime Isayama, who's pretty infamous mainly for Attack on Titan. He's upset a lot of people, and people say a lot of bad things about him. So
like he's like a shitty person, or his anime
the way he ended Attack on Titan. Also, he didn't take criticism very well as he was writing Attack on Titan, And so there's like speculation that he purposely wrote a bad ending despite all his fans.
Ooh,
So yeah,
jeez. I've been when I watched it, I did look up a bunch of reviews and people really shitting on it.
yeah.
People were really upset about the way it ended.
They were upset about the manga ending, and I remember, I mean, I got spoiled on the ending, right? And it was we'll wait till this to go to the spoiler sections, but like it was like, all right, I'm gonna like spoil it for you, and it was like you're gonna believe none of this is real, but it's all fact. And then as I was reading it, it just sounds like the most outlandish like bullshit, and it basically is covering the final two episodes of
Okay.
like word for word and like brief descriptions, and you would just like. I've only watched season 3 at this time, and he was finishing the manga. It just sounds like super outlandish, and
Yeah.
everything that guy wrote that I thought he was like trolling was true.
Jeez.
So,
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know about. I generally liked. I guess it's hard not to like an anime that you've invested 10 years with,
yeah.
and like it had to be really like an awful ending for me to just be like, Psh,
Yeah.
ruin it.
I mean, you got to imagine, just like the hype every person who began watching this anime, 10 years ago, there's high expectations, and the manga fans had the same expectations, and so, you know, um, a lot of them criticized his work as he was writing it, because he released it chapter by chapter, so there is speculation, and then there's a few interviews where he also kind of hints that that I'd have to bring up the interview, but there was a series he was highly disappointed by when he was reading the manga, and so like he was talking about how he was hurt as a fan, and he
Oh,
kind of it made it seem like he wasn't opposed to doing the same thing, like hurting fans in the same way he was once hurt, and him being in a position to do that.
I hope not, because I did feel like while it was elaborate, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't
Yeah.
know how you felt about it. Before we give a rating, how did you just
Um,
generally feel about
I
it?
I kind of see and kind of agree. I thought there was like basically a lot of character assassination, like kind of some people characters' motivations didn't really make sense at the very end of the
Ooh,
anime.
I'm curious. I'm really excited for you to talk about that.
Yeah, okay.
I want to know about that, because
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the character development. There's only one I did not like, but we'll talk about that when we get in there, and when we talk a little bit about the characters and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm ready. Dude, you ready to give a rating?
Yeah, I'll give it a rating.
So this one on our final look, I'm gonna give this one a 4, 4 out of 5 edamames, because I thought it was a good way to end the series, and I don't feel like there was that other there was a lot of routes they could have taken,
Yeah.
and I don't think any of them would have been better or worse. Maybe they could have been a little better, maybe it could have been a little worse, but I don't think there's any route that they can take where it's like this is much better to an extension. I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, if you were looking for the happy ending that everyone
Yeah,
wanted,
everyone wanted because people are that much attached to the characters.
exactly, then yeah, I can see you being upset.
Yeah.
But for me being a realist, and I mean, we just watched a couple ones where catastrophic events have happened. I mean, Devilman Crybaby had that ending, and it's I'm going to use that in a little bit to reference something that happened on this episode, on this series. But it it sometimes it just ends in like the catastrophic event is like winning, and that's how it ends. It doesn't end with a happy go, they get away, and it's all lovey
Yeah.
dovey. But yeah, so 4 out of 5. What do you got?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 edamames. Um,
Okay.
I feel a little bit kind of like the character assassinations. I didn't like the way he turned some of the characters towards the end. I feel it didn't fit their original motivations, but not that the characters have to be stagnant and what they're supposed to do. But I also felt that the length and the production hurt it a lot. This might sound like overly critical, but I found it hard to care about what was happening because it had been so long. Like here's the climax, and I'm just like, okay, like it took them, season 4 took 3 years. The last special happened in March. So it went like 7 months, and it was still just like a slight continuation of what was already happening. And
Right,
so
right.
like, yeah, I found it hard to care what was happening, and not that I didn't care about the characters, but it's just like the I don't know, the mystique of it all was gone, and I was just kind of like, okay, like let's see how they're gonna wrap it up, like, and then so like a lot of like I guess the battle and stuff was just felt a little like overdrawn. Like I don't really like I guess it was cool. The fighting, well, very well animated. It was interesting. The music was great, but again, I didn't really quite care if that makes sense.
You're hitting the nail on the head with this one when you said like the production like ruined it by spacing it out so long.
Yeah.
Granted, there's probably some reasons, but either way, like you build us up over 10 years, and then at the 7 year mark, you prolong something that's going on for 3 years.
Yeah.
And to me, you're right. I lost interest. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I lost interest so much that you told me that it came out already.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it came out. And for someone that's been watching it for 10 years, I didn't even realize it came out. Now, other anime, I'm like, it's coming out next week. We
Yeah.
gotta
Oh,
watch
yeah,
it.
for sure.
This one, I was like, with Mushoku Tensei, I was like, dude, next up, let's go watch it.
Yeah.
If you would have told me nothing, I would have found out maybe later on when I was on Crunchyroll and I saw it, because it is the banner right now for Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And granted, it should be, but yeah. So you're right. The production value did kind of ruin that. I'm not.
Yeah, and think about it this way. I told you about it, and you weren't like, dude, we got to watch that like right now or like tomorrow. No, we waited like 3 or 4 days. Yeah,
we waited
5 days.
Yeah, it was about a week of waiting, but also like whenever you told me, I didn't even want to watch it. I felt like we needed to watch it because I was already getting spoilers.
Yeah.
And when you 10 years and you don't want to be spoiled on by the internet of an anime you've been watching for 10 years. You want to watch it and feel it. So I whenever I started seeing like the TikTok pop up and it was like I was on TikTok and it was like Levi and I was like, ooh,
yeah,
don't do it. So yeah, I was kind of I knew we had to watch it because of that. And because it wasn't even going to be the anime we were going to watch this, we actually subbed this one out for our other one because we knew we had to watch it, and I'm glad we did watch it. I'm glad because it is important for us to do this one. This is a really important one. I mean, for us to do. I was gonna say like we should drop this one first.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the second half. The first half was, like I said, I found it hard to care, but regardless, it's still a 3.5 out of 5. It was enjoyable, but like the payoff of what I expected from Attack on Titan, I felt a little let down. So,
all right, I'm sure you're definitely not alone. So, what are other people saying?
All right, I'm gonna read a 10 out of 10 review first.
Okay, go ahead.
So let's see someone who loved this. So this is written by BadgerStorm4345. The ending to the greatest TV show of all time. Attack on Titan's conclusion was a masterpiece. Along with the rest of the show, the story of Eren Yeager's desire to go beyond the walls is one that is as beautiful as it is complex. The final episode encapsulates all of the horror and beauty that is to be found in the world, giving masterful conclusions to Mikasa and Armin, as well as sending Eren off as perhaps the best character in fiction. The animation in the episode was the best in the entire show's run, and the pacing made this incredibly enjoyable to sit through, despite the episode being nearly the length of a feature film. The theme of freedom is explored perfectly, and we see what real freedom is, as well as what it means to be a slave to freedom. This show is an absolute masterpiece and is absolutely the best anime of all time, and perhaps the greatest story of all time.
I don't know what he's talking about. The pacing. I mean, if he's talking about the last
This is specifically
for the last
special
episode.
two.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, good.
Season 2,
not
Attack on Titan as a whole. No.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely seems like he's just a diehard fan.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, when you come across diehard fans for an anime, you would never be able to convince them that the ending was bad.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what he put out. Even if the creator could come out and say like, "Oh yeah, I just threw something together because I didn't care," they would still love it for what it is because they're so invested in it.
Yeah, you can tell this guy is a diehard fan.
Yeah, I mean, greatest anime ever.
Yeah.
Highly debatable, but we're not here to debate on that. But yeah, I mean, it feels good though. This guy actually probably was.
I'm glad he enjoyed it.
I am too. I'm glad that he probably watched this and was just like amazed by all of it, and it captivated everything that he felt through the entire run, and he probably had like a rush of emotions, and that's what you get when you're doing 10-star reviews. Wait, what was it, 5 stars? 10?
It was a 10-star.
10-star reviews.
10 out of 10, yeah.
10 out of 10, okay, yeah. So I can feel that, and good for him. I felt same way when I talk about Neon Genesis. I'm glad I would do the same thing. I wouldn't give it a 10, but I'd still talk about it in that regard.
Yeah.
All right, nice, good for him. What was his name?
BadgerStorm 4345.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, BadgerStorm.
Yeah. All right. So, sorry, I hadn't read this guy's name. I have to censor it. Hershey Big Blank gives this a 1 out of 10. He titles it A Fall from Grace. It's impossible to describe how terrible this ending is. The entire plot setup that was done for 13 years is discarded last minute for a sappy, weird, and creepy romance plot. Nothing that makes any sense. The worm is a weird plot device pulled in at the last second without any preparation or anything. It just shows up. Eren goes from god power wise to being easily defeated without any casualties from the alliance. Misaka's entire character is just weirdly done. Eren is butchered as it is revealed he doesn't actually have any motivations or reasons to be like this or to be there. He just says it happens. This is trash.
Okay, he's not wrong on some of those things.
Not wrong on some of them. Yeah.
There's some things in there that I agree with, and if I keep talking about it, I might do. I don't want this to be a spoiler section yet, but he was right on the there's a worm. Sorry.
Yeah.
You'll find out what that means. He was right on that. He's also right on the final bout with Eren and Armin.
Yeah.
There was a lot of he does seem like he was easily defeated. Like,
yeah.
To me, it was like he did seem easily defeated.
Yeah.
So he's not wrong.
Yeah, I agree with some things he says. Hershey Big Blink. So.
Yeah, shout out Hershey Big Blink for keeping it real. All right.
So I guess we'll get into the spoiler section now.
Yeah, this is the official spoiler section, and we'll start off this episode by going by chapter. So, the first chapter is called "Battle of Heaven on Earth." Is that right?
Heaven and Earth.
Heaven and Earth, which is, I mean, that's rightfully titled.
Yeah, I could see that.
There was a lot in this episode because we're really coming off that previous chapter where they're on the rib cage of like Eren's back or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a really good fight. The whole scene, and that's why I was like, you said you didn't like the first part. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked the action. I liked that it was. I liked that they brought back some of the old Titans, previous ones. I thought it was a good touch.
That was a good plot device where they brought back all the previous Titan holders. Like that was cool. You're talking about whenever they formed like the stone.
Yeah. They were like all this, like they're pastels or whatever.
Yeah.
They're all pasty and whatnot, and I thought that was really cool. And I really enjoyed watching some of the old Titans come back, and but I really enjoyed just like the fight. I really enjoy Armin in this. To me, Armin, he had some of the best character development in my opinion.
Yeah.
Him and Levi, but really Armin went from this, this very scared child.
Yeah.
That runs away from everything.
Yeah.
To being
cries a lot.
To being probably the highest ranking member other than Levi. Mm-hmm. And technically I think I want to say he's higher ranked than Levi because I think Hanj gave him like commander.
Yeah.
After
all I know is I don't know too much about his ranking, but I do know that Levi chose Armin over Erwin, to be the colossal Titan.
Yeah, and that was to me, it does touch a little bit about that, about how Levi's real only motivation is to fight for his comrades.
Yeah,
and really we get to see that, but really Erwin was kind of like his if he had a best friend, it would be Erwin.
Yeah,
and for him to say like no, like Levi, no, actually, did he do that? I thought Erwin said give it to Armin.
Maybe, but
again, it's been so long.
Yeah, Levi was thinking about it during the episode, and he was saying no, it was the right choice to give it to Armin.
Yeah, he did say it was the right choice to give it to Armin, and I agree as well. I mean, nothing against Erwin, but Armin is just highly sophisticated and very calculated. And toward the end, I mean, he just was like the best leader to follow, and his character development was really good. And I really like how I think everyone knew he was the best. He had the plan to do the right thing, and then he gets swallowed up.
Yeah.
By and this is where was Hershey's blank was like, there's some there's like a ox.
Yeah. See, I was confused by that. They call it like some kind of pig. I should have wrote it down.
Oh yeah. It's an okja.
Something.
Yeah,
like
it's OKTJA. Okja. I don't know.
I'm not gonna pretend that I know.
Or Orkta.
I was trying to Google it, and it kept coming up with Onkyo Pan, the black character that's flying the plane, and so I was like,
yeah, I know what it is. It's a Japanese like pig-like character or pig-like thing. But yeah, He gets eaten up and taken, and then again, like who was that though?
Okay, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that. So all these other characters or figures are representing previous iterations of all the 9 original Founding Titans, right? Because they keep passing them on, person after person after person. That's why you see Bertolt in there.
Yeah.
That's why you see I forget who the Jaw Titan was that they see like in there.
It was Porcio or something.
Porco. Yeah. So you're seeing like people that they actually know, and so you assume that all the other ones are still previous iterations of it. So then, who was the pig? I even wrote that down.
Yeah,
like, who was it? I was waiting for that reveal. Like I was waiting for that to be like a major plot device, and it's just forgotten about.
See, at first I thought it was Zeke, because Zeke's nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
he's like a hollowed out version.
He's like stuck in his bone in the rib cage somewhere, and they don't know where he's at. So they're trying to find him.
Yeah, so I thought that was really I thought it was him at first, but it's really hard to say. And again, these are past like iterations of different Titans that we don't even know.
Yeah, well, even like whenever Annie or Mikasa is trying to explain it to Annie, she's like, maybe it's the jaw, maybe it's the. She names 3 different Titans, and she's like, "That you're not helping." Like they don't even know what Titans it's supposed to be representing.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, we'll keep. Maybe it's just like a Emir's like something to Emir. Who knows? We don't really know, and I mean, maybe you know out there, but either way, we can move past that.
Yeah.
So Armin, of course, Armin's leading the army, like leading the final like charge, and he gets taken.
Yeah.
Immediately, and then they have a plan, and this is my favorite character of this episode, is the cart Titan. Peaks. Yeah.
Peak.
I love her, dude.
Yeah, I really liked Peak.
She was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
She said, "I'm going for it."
Yeah.
She went right to the neck and threw all those grenades or like whatever.
It's like a chain of bombs.
Yeah, and just like all on.
And she's actually ignoring the plan because they're not trying to kill Eren, and she's like, "F this!" Like I'm going for it.
She's also the only one that hasn't spoken to Eren. She's never spoken to Eren.
Yeah.
Like she has never had a conversation with Eren at all. She doesn't even know anything about him that much.
Yeah.
Like, but everyone else has spoken to Eren and they know of Eren and things like that. But, yeah. So, and then she gets stabbed by by like a Trigon type.
It's a trident.
Trident. Yeah. Gets stabbed, and I thought she was dead.
Yeah. I forget what Titan it was. They said what it was.
It's the Titan that Eren ate.
It's like the Hammer Titan or something like that.
Yeah. That's the one. Yeah. Something like that. But again, and I'm not blaming anyone on this, but it's been so long since we've seen the anime that we're faulting here.
Yeah, I didn't give it any rewatches. Like I might have rewatched season 1 a bit, but that would probably have been like 5-6 years ago. I didn't give season 2 a rewatch. I gave season 3. Season 4 I was super confused, and so I was like, I'd have to go watch it all again. And I just kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. This is all part of it. You know, I think that a lot of the not knowing is part of it. Like we're supposed to be a little open ended.
Yeah.
But really, so the plan's working good, and they're fighting, and then everyone's. And then again, this is another part where I didn't like. Like they're getting beat, and every time they get beat, they like pass out, but their gear like catches them. Their OST, whatever it's called.
The
ODM gear catches them, and they're just like limp. Like how is it? How are they doing that? Like does it automatically sense they're falling? I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
So they're doing that happens, and this is where it gets kind of cool. Mikasa pops up, and she's like, "I'm the best."
Yeah.
And then wings sprout out. At first, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Did she attack?"
Yeah, I thought it was about to be real too, but it was like kind of figurative speaking. I think. Yeah.
It was just like coincidental that Falco,
who
is now like a Falcon Titan, because he ate the Jaw Titan, like carried them away to safety, and then that's when they have this plan about getting Armin and and then of course exploding the head.
Yeah,
that's when they decide that, and that's really pretty much that's whenever it gets kind of interesting because we get this this final like run through, and they're just trying to get Armin now. And I really like because Annie's there now, and Annie is one of my favorite characters too. I really like Annie. I like how she challenges Mikasa. Like they're like,
yeah, Annie was okay as a character. This is one of the things that I was kind of saying about character assassination. I didn't really like how they just forgave Annie, right? Like, you might not remember that there's like a comedic pie eating scene wherever they Annie's just stuffing her face with pie, and then like they're walking through the town, like Connie and like probably Mikasa and Levi, and they run into her, right? And she's murdered how many of their comrades, and then they just decide, oh, okay, like I guess we can be team members now.
I know that it's hard to like forgive Annie for what she's done, but I think it's more challenging to forgive Reiner and to forgive.
Yeah, but I actually really liked Reiner's character because he was remorseful. He was gonna delete himself at one point. Like
I didn't like Reiner.
I liked Reiner. I liked Annie. I really do like Annie as a character. I didn't like the dynamic that they set up with
Oh
her
yeah.
to like just join the team, to join the Avengers to go save the world.
I didn't like Reiner's character because to me it's just like I just thought for him to be kind of like the big bad reveal, I just didn't expect it. But also I didn't really like that he's like the only one that's like the badass.
Yeah.
Because there's other Titans I think that were way better than him, and yet he's the one that's seen fighting this giant worm-like creature.
Oh yeah.
And I'll get in that a little bit because I have some quarrels with that one. Was it qualms?
Qualms, quarrels.
Yeah, I have some big issues with this damn worm-like character. So we get this final like run at they get Armin. How do they get Armin out?
Um,
I watched this last night, by the way.
they So essentially, it looks like all hope is lost. I think we might be getting into the chapter 4 now. This might be at the end of the chapter 4.
I was going to start that with the conversation with Zeke.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to remember because what essentially happens, and it happens after the conversation with Zeke.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like it's basically all hope is lost. Like
Yeah.
they're all getting their ass kicked. There's infinitely responding. They're all getting hurt more and more. Like Reiner's like damaged. Peak can only regenerate. What'd she say? Like I can regenerate 1,000 times and win 1,000 battles, but I can't kill all these.
Yeah, well, and I think in the manga it
times.
actually says she can she can keep doing like 100 times.
Yeah.
Because her stamina, she's able to do that, which is a fucking awesome scene.
Yeah.
She's just like getting like her head's cut off, and then she pops out of the smoke, like spinning, and I think I was waiting for her to go through all her fingers.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was waiting for. I was like, she's gonna run out of her hand eventually.
Yeah.
But it keeps regenerating.
No,
so.
she says herself like I could win 100 battles, but I can't win this. Essentially, yeah.
She was such a badass.
Yeah.
That was so cool, dude.
So yeah, basically like it looks like they're about to lose. Like everyone's just at wit's end. They're all failing on both sides. Like they're not able to free Armin, and they're not able to find get to the head of Eren on the Titan.
Yeah. And then I guess we can go on the next chapter, right? This is where Zeke and Armin are kind of having their conversation, and the way it works is like Armin's trying to get out.
Armin's like, sees his undead body, and then he's like, trying to wake himself up, and then he sees sand in his hand, and he realizes he's in the paths.
Yeah, was that ever explained earlier?
This is one of those things that I had to read about, and it still didn't quite make sense. So like, all the Eldians that become Titans are all interconnected in the paths, and Ymir's like the head of the paths.
Yeah.
Right, like or the queen.
She's
or
like the root. She's like, 'cause it's like a tree.
Yeah. And so that's why like memories are shared. Like all Eldians that become Titans are interconnected through the paths, and that's why Eren, as the founding Titan, has like memories of like all of them. Like they explain it later, but he can see like the past, present, and future like all at once. It's due to the paths, from my understanding. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, he didn't know. Well, you're absolutely right. He can see past, present, and future. He didn't get that till later on when he touched Historia, I believe.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's whenever all the memories rush back.
Yeah.
And which is something that is kind of tragic, right? There's this kid that's he knows all the futures, all the past, and all the present. He knows it all, and yet I think there's a certain point, and maybe it's in the beginning of season 4 where he knew how it was going to end.
Yeah.
Before it even ended, and he's able to also access different memories as well, and leave hints and let people know things.
See, I couldn't tell if he was like traveling like back in time as the events were happening and like being there, because like he's like there's points where he's talking to like Grisha, his dad, and like convincing him to do things.
Well, he's not traveling. He's like
implanting himself in like a memory. See, it was like all confusing.
So I did read about this. He's not traveling. He already did that. But he made them lose their memories on that part. So when he was giving these speeches, he already did that. So even like the scene where he's walking with, there's one that he didn't do that, like the log cabin with Mikasa. That didn't happen. That was like the alternative route when they ran away. But the one with Armin with their kids, he did do that already, and he just erased his memory.
Yeah, I forget what scene it was with Grisha. There's like some execution scene or something like that, and Grisha kills the queen, which is his dad. Which how could he have done that? When he's a little kid, and he, from my understanding, he hadn't even found the basement yet. But again, I digress. It's been a long time. I was just in general confused. But back to what we were talking about, the past just interconnects all the Titans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Armin's seeing the sand, and he's thinking back about a scene where they look at the water and they're playing like in the beach or something. They never seen water before.
Yeah.
Rising the sand, and then he's seeing another item, right? There's a feather. Is it a feather?
He picks. Well, he's talking to Zeke, and
Zeke sees a baseball.
Yeah, Armin picks up a feather, and that's triggers his memory of. I actually thought this point was really poignant. I liked this this conversation between Zeke and Armin.
Very important.
Because they're talking about like Armin wants to save humanity, and Zeke is all about the genocide. He's wipe humanity out, like get it done with, like kill all the Titans, that none of us ever be born again, type of thing. And so they're kind of talking about like the purpose of life, and Armin picks up the is a leaf, like a fall leaf, and he's saying like my favorite memory is like chasing. He talks about Eren, Mikasa, and Armin racing up a hill towards a tree. I want to say, right. And Eren gets first, Mikasa lets him win, and he can never catch third. And then he basically says, like, that was my greatest memory of all time. Like, it was worth living just to have experienced that, right? And Zeke's looking at him hold the leaf, but Zeke sees a baseball. And as he's talking about these moments worth living for, he picks up the baseball, and it triggers his memory of playing catch with, it's his dad, right, Grisha? Like, because Eren and Zeke are brothers. Yeah. So he's playing catch with his dad, and he basically comes to the same conclusion as Armin. Like, this was worth living for. Like, if all I could do was just play catch forever for eternity, like that's what I would do. Like, it was worth it to have done that. Like, that's the happiest moment I've ever been in my life. Kind of. That was my interpretation.
Yeah, but before that, he kept saying that like it was to multiply. Like that's all we're.
Well, he's just saying like that's just life. Like he's just talking about he was going on this weird spiel about like how life began, and it began with bacteria, and all it is to multiply this and that, and then the kind of to me going to the end of like there is no meaning in life because life is just to multiply. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, he also that creature the amoeba, whatever he's looking at. That kind of did resemble that worm-like creature. I think that's what maybe those are going for.
I couldn't tell.
That may be a stretch, but to me, I was like, that's maybe kind of something there. But yeah, he goes in this whole spiel about the like multiply and things like that, and then he has this memory, and he's like, I'll do it all over again just to play catch.
Yeah,
one of my greatest memories ever.
Yeah.
So and then this kind of opens up where they do take off the head, right? They do get Armin out.
I want to say like the very end they do, but how they do that is because like Zeke has this epiphany, and then both Armin and Zeke turn around, and it's like Grisha, Galliard. I want to say it's a bunch of the other Titans. Like there's some scientist dude I don't really know, right? And these are all some of the previous Titans that are already dead, but they exist in the past because they're connected, right? And so then that's when it goes back to the fight on Eren's back, the founding Titan's back, and that's when the Titans start basically helping. Like the Titans turn on each other, like, and it's Galliard, like like he's what was he one of the colossal Titans, right? And he's like swipes like a bunch of them and saves like Annie, and then they realize that that one's Galliard, and then that one's like.
Yeah, indeed. I don't remember the Titans' name, but you're right. So he does like do all this. They basically convince these Titans that they know to help them out, and they starts fighting off.
And see, it's basically a reversal of Zeke's beliefs, because Zeke was all about letting humanity die, and now he wants to save it, and he basically enlists and helps Armin enlist this help.
Yeah, and we get a pretty cool scene, like when he's like stuck in the bone.
You're talking about Zeke?
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually like that he pops out and he's like, "Hey Levi, I never wanted to see you again, but you wanted to see me." And then
I mean Levi just takes off his head. Yeah. Granted, this is what I wanted for Levi the whole time.
Yeah.
There's no one I wanted Levi to kill more than Zeke. It didn't matter whether Zeke was good or bad. It had to do with the fact that Levi was chasing Zeke for so long.
Yeah.
And really the scene that like, because one of my favorite scenes in the entire show is whenever Zeke is like, there's only one person I'm worried about. It's Levi. You got to stop him. Well, and then it flashes back to their battle, and he's surrounded by these Titans, and he looks to his left and right, and they're all dead. And then it's smoke everywhere, and then you see Levi bloodied and just drenched and just starts destroying, like just whoops Zeke's ass.
Yeah.
And really, it just shows that like, and then of course Zeke gets away.
Yeah.
And Levi, after doing this, and after surviving like an explosion, and after doing like losing like his eye, like he's just been. It's really all Zeke's fault.
Yeah. So This is what I was confused about. The worm is inside Zeke, right? Because
No.
like, okay, well, who doesn't he catch Armin's head or not Armin, but Aaron's head? Like, okay, remember way back when um Gabby like basically 180 no scopes Aaron's head as he's running towards Zeke, right? And
Yeah.
Zeke catches him, right? And
Yeah.
that turns him into the founding
Yes.
Titan, right? So like the worm is inside Zeke, right? Because the moment he kills Zeke, the worm is free. Like Reiner's fighting the worm now.
No, no, no. Well, you're right on that part. So the only way the Roman can start is if Zeke and Eren are touching.
Okay.
So they have to be touching. So the rumbling stops, and it's that weird baby scene which wasn't needed,
Okay.
where they're
yeah.
moving the baby forward. Which I like that idea, but I thought it was gonna mean something. It didn't.
It was a representation of hope for humanity. Like it was about to get pushed off the edge,
and they start passing
and then
the
they
baby
save
across,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
So I get that. It's kind of like the Titanic stuff. But so whenever Levi cuts off Zeke's head, the rumbling stops.
Okay.
So now that's when it stops. Then whenever Gene, which you know what, good for Gene. Gene's actually one that detonated the bombs around Aaron's neck.
Oh, is that what frees the worms?
Yeah, that's
okay.
what that. So the when he disconnected the head, the worm was trying to find Aaron's head.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was trying to find his head to reconnect. So that to me was like good for Gene. You know what? Shout out to Gene.
Okay. Yeah. No, that was.
Is it Gene or John?
I think this is Gene.
It's Gene, but it's
John.
John. Anyways, either way, John in French, Gene from where we're at.
Yeah.
So that's what happens there, and this is where it gets kind of weird. So, I think that were we in chapter 2 now?
No. This is still chapter 4.
Oh, Long Dream. What's Long Dream?
It's still chapter 4.
Okay.
So we're still here. So they're basically all fighting the worm. After this, like,
well, there's something that cool that happens here. Is like the Gabby and all them have been reconnected with their families.
Yeah.
Reiner and all them, right? And then this worm releases this gas. And
oh, you're right. Yes,
the gas triggers all of them. I think they're all Eldians.
Yeah, they're all Eldians.
So it triggers this delayed Titan formation. Kind of like whenever, you know, the howling triggers them.
Mm-hmm.
So it triggers all these Titans to just like become, or all these Eldians become Titans.
Mm-hmm.
And they go all start attacking Reiner because he's fighting this worm.
Yeah.
And
Reiner's like wrestling with a worm, and then like he's holding his own against the worm, and then like he starts seeing like all the people he recognizes, like Gabby and like Falco are like on him, right?
Well, so so he's fighting.
No, they get out. The Falco and them get away. Yeah.
No, well, technically, Falco gets away with Levi and Mikasa.
Okay.
The plan is for them to get away, but everyone else is going to turn into a Titan. They already know that.
Yeah.
And so while Reiner's fighting this worm, Annie and Peaks are helping him.
There you go.
Against this worm, while Falco is flying away with Mikasa and Levi, rightfully so. This is the match. This is the duo I really want.
Yeah.
There's no one more. I would if they did a spin-off with Levi and Mikasa being like the regimen scouts solo, just them two like partners. They would kill more Titans than anyone else.
Yeah.
So they get this really epic like duo in my opinion. But yeah, so while this happened, all the Titans are there's two battles right now. Reiner, Peaks, and Annie versus this worm-like amoeba, while all these other Titan Eldians are like fighting and biting them and stuff like that. Yeah. And then we get the duo that go in with Falco, and this is what's really cool is Eren actually implanted a memory in Mikasa where he's gonna be at. He tells her that he's in the mouth.
Yeah.
Which we didn't even talk about what's happening with Armin and Eren.
That might be the next chapter, unless they're fighting.
They're actually they're
like
also
they're
fighting.
slugging it out.
Yeah, they're slugging it out. They're both now like Eren's like a colossal Titan, and they're just slugging it out, and they're going after each other, and that's when we kind of get this really cool. Well, so Levi hops down like a badass and doesn't. I don't know if he does anything great. Doesn't seem like it, but I think he hits him in the mouth.
Yeah.
With one of those like bomb missiles,
yeah.
and I think it knocks his tooth out enough for Mikasa to go through the mouth, and there's Eren right there.
Yeah, and right before this scene, like I actually liked it because it's basically total despair. Like Reiner's having to fight like Peak and who was the other one?
Annie.
Okay, Peak and Annie. Yeah. Armin's just in total despair because he's having to fight his best friend Eren. Like,
Yeah.
they just watch everyone turn into Titans. Everyone's like just like at a total loss of like why this is even happening. And,
Agreed.
Mikasa doesn't want to kill Eren, but she realizes she has to.
Yeah, and we get kind of the most, and this is a hard scene for me to watch. So she goes in and without really not much hesitation, cuts off his head clean, and then
Mhm.
it triggers a memory in her. And the memory is them in a log cabin,
Yeah.
and he's basically telling her about everything that's going on. They're talking about it, and he's like saying like this is the only way. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
By the way, she has her hair is normal.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's like they left like the creator made like this. When Aaron had short hair, it meant he cared about himself. Because he has long hair now, I mean he stopped caring about himself altogether.
I could see that.
And Mikasa, when she had short hair, that was by accident. She accidentally cut her hair off. Maybe it's explained in like an OVA or something, but that was what he was getting at. Is that like she accidentally cut her hair off twice by accident where it was short, and he didn't see that part of Mikasa because they were always at battle.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the memory that's flashed back to POV from them, it's like the haircuts that they want. Like
Yeah.
so that was kind of interesting. I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah. I like that scene because it represented the alternate reality of choice. Like even their dialogue, he was telling Mikasa like, I'm gonna die in 4 years. Like that one time when you told us like let's just leave, like let's run away together. Like that was that memory. That's what basically them living at the log cabin would have been the alternate reality of choice. Like that's what would have happened if Eren had chose to run away with Mikasa and left basically everyone else to fight by themselves. He was gonna die in 4 years, but they would have got that time together. And I liked the scene. I liked it. It's unfortunate that they didn't really explore Mikasa's and Eren's romance prior to this. I always wanted them to, and then Eren was like a dick to her, in like season 3, and they explain it away.
Yeah, like he lied about it.
Yeah.
He did it so they get separation.
Yeah, so because he was trying to avoid it. It would have been more impactful. It still was impactful, but I would have liked to there have been more like heartbreak.
No, and I'm coming for me, dude. I wanted the romance more than anything.
That wasn't enough heartbreak for you, or that was?
It was the right amount, perfect for me.
Okay.
I definitely like that. I wanted more. You're right. It would be cool to have like maybe them go on like one date or something. But to me, like exploring more would have took away from what really was happening. It's that something catastrophic is happening, and there's no room for romance.
Yeah.
But in this like alternate universe, there's something there that they're feeling, and he's expressing that to her, and then he makes her make a promise, which she does not keep. It was to get rid of the scarf.
Oh yeah, you're right. At the end of it, she didn't. She didn't keep it,
which we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. But yeah, I wanted that romance to be something. My wish for this was that at the very end, and we're already in the spoilers, is that Eren gets saved, and Mikasa and him get to live that life that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they would say it's just gonna repeat, but we have time together. But no, he knew that this was the only reality where he could basically protect her.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I liked it as that was like the happy ending that could have been, but wasn't.
And then we get this like super romantic kiss with the head of Eren.
Yeah.
Mikasa finally gets her kiss that she's probably been like wanting for years. And
so I mentioned I didn't mean to interrupt you,
no, you're good.
but I mentioned how I was spoiled for me, and it was like going cliff notes here. Imagine all 9 Titans are fighting on the back of a colossal Titan. Eren. This is before we even knew Eren was going to be the founding Titan. Titan's a giant bone walking skeleton, and they're all fighting on the back of it in a great epic battle. Reiner's like wrestling a worm, and then Mikasa cuts Eren's head off and then kisses it. Like does that sound like a good ending to you?
No, but it does sound like it sounds like it's the only way she'll ever get that damn kiss. No, I'm glad she embraced that scene. And what I didn't like is that she carried that head for a long time. I don't know how long this battle was.
You know, I didn't mind that she held on to the head. That actually didn't bother me at all. I didn't give that second thoughts.
I was like, dude, like, goddamn, she held on the head for a long time. But see, I do like the kissing scene of the head, and in the background, Amir's there. Like, Amir's just like, what the fuck? But it was such a, it was actually, I hurt bad, dude. It hurt so bad watching this scene happen. I'm gonna talk about the emotional scene a little bit, but we get the head and then the memory triggered, and then we kind of get a Armin. I'm not what triggered Armin's memory.
I think all these memories trigger right after this. Like it ends with Mikasa kissing Eren. Like that's the end of chapter 4.
Yeah, and then we get into this last one, which
Yeah.
is toward the tree on the hill,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful way to title it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Armin's memory is them sitting, like they're sitting at like a dock and they're
They're
talking.
sitting on I think the ocean, and I think it's supposed to represent at the end of season 2, I want to say, where they reach the ocean, right? And Armin has only read about it in books, and Eren and Armin reach the end of the ocean. They're like amazed by it, and so like the conversation starts there as one of the things Armin wanted to see, and then that's why as they're talking and going
Okay.
through this, they're visiting like the northern lights. They're visiting lava for the first time because these are like things that Armin always wanted to see, and like Eren's showing him these things, while they're
Yeah.
talking. So yeah, so anyways, yeah, they're sitting on the shore of the ocean, and Eren and Armin they're like kids, right?
They're children.
Yeah.
By the way, this has already happened.
Yeah.
Armin just doesn't remember
No,
it.
it's already happened because it was a memory implanted in his head, and they don't really reveal this until after. Eren gets killed, and then all these memories, which the same thing with Mikasa's cabin memory. It's triggered the moment he is killed.
Yeah.
The moment Eren's killed, Mikasa remembers this, and then Armin remembers this conversation that we're talking about.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful scene. Them because this is probably I like the Armin and Zeke conversation, but I really like this conversation because it covers 3 sections. They're at the water. They're talking about stuff as kids, and then he shows them like the river of like a lava.
Yeah, it's
and
lava.
and then he's like in the sky, and they're like looks like they're in clouds.
Yeah, but the whole time they're just discussing like Eren's master plan. Like they discuss Mikasa a little bit, and that's when like Eren, when they're in the sky, Armin punches Eren for saying like if you're not careful, Mikasa's gonna go for another guy, and he's just like, oh, like what do I care? And then he punches him, and he's like, and then that's when there's that scene where Eren's like crying, saying, no, of course I love Mikasa, like
So the scene that you're referring to, and I remember because I thought it was really fun, because I had to rewind it because he punched him, and I was like, I don't know what I was doing. I was like, not expecting that, so I rewinded it, and he says, do you think Mikasa's gonna get with another guy or be happy with somebody else?
Yeah.
And he says, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then fucking Armin just decks him, but see, I thought he decked him because he was like, I thought he loved Mikasa. Like for a little bit, I was like, he's saying like, I want to be that guy, but that was never explained. But really, he says, I haven't forgiven you yet.
Yeah.
And that's when they start talking about that, and then he starts crying because he says like, I love her and I don't want her to be with anyone else, and it's like. To me, that was trivial at that point.
Even after I die, I don't want her to think of anyone else but me for the next 10 years. Yeah. That one was actually circulated on the internet for so fucking long.
Was it?
When Isayama wrote that chapter, it was just like him, like Eren, like sitting down crying, like at least for another 10 years, like making him look like an idiot.
That's why he's the greatest master ever. Okay. Do you have anything else on this Armin and Eren?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Basically this entire thing is just like Eren explaining to Armin that I kind of didn't like it because it was like Eren's master plan in order to get Armin and Mikasa to kill him. Yeah. Like, and he's explaining it to Armin so he understands, and at the very end he comes to the conclusion, and they're back and forth and arguing, and Eren's showing Armin like, look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kill 80% of humanity, and he's showing him the bloody fields, like because they keep transporting different places, and he shows him the what I assume is the rumbling, like they've already smashed everyone, like they're in a swamp, a muddied swamp of where all the titans
magma
ran through.
And everything. Yeah, okay.
It's not magma, it's just blood. Like it's literally bloody water.
Oh,
and he's reaching into the water and picking up like hair and teeth and shit like that, and then Armin picks up like a shell, and they're basically reminiscing back and forth. and this is where like Armin basically realizes that he's contributed to Eren's decision making to end all of humanity, and he tells Eren that I'll see you again in hell,
which I really liked.
We'll both be together forever
but
in hell because this is my responsibility as well.
I didn't like that he took ownership of it. I didn't like Armin taking ownership of what was happening. It just felt like it was like why are you taking? You didn't do none of this.
To me, it was like him understanding that all choices have consequences, and by choosing to be by his side, basically no matter what, and then pushing him towards his goals and ideas resulted in him taking such extreme measures. And like I said, I kind of didn't like it because it was like just Eren explaining to Armin Eren's plan for them to kill him, like he's like gonna commit suicide via
like by proxy,
Mikasa and them, and they even call him like a suicidal maniac and stuff like that.
I didn't like that Armin was taking ownership of it, but I also didn't like the seashell scene. Again, there's like too much symbolism happening.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they already did that with like Zeke and stuff. Maybe they were repeating it, but it was just too much. Like it was like trying to make everything symbolic.
Yeah.
When really it wasn't needed.
One of the things that I had trouble wrapping around. They also talk about Ymir because Eren's also explaining like Ymir, like why Ymir's like he basically explains that she's got like Stockholm syndrome, like exactly. King Fritz, abused her, cut out her tongue or whatever, but she like still loved him, right? And then somehow Mikasa was Ymir's way out to be freed, right? And is my interpretation of it. Mikasa is going to be able to free Ymir by killing the one person she loves, right? Exactly, yeah. Ymir loved King Fritz, but she could not bring himself to do that, even though all the terrible things that he did. But Mikasa loves Eren, and she's going to be able to do it, and that's what's going to free her. And that's the way I took it. She does cut Eren's head off, and then there's a scene where Ymir and Mikasa are saying, she's like, "I'll never forgive you" or something, and Ymir like fades away into dust.
That to me is like you're right on it right there, because really it was like a mirror image of them, like Fritz and Ymir. Like it was definitely like an extreme case of Stockholm syndrome, because she had the power to kill him. Yeah, she didn't abuse it. She just didn't use it. Mm-hmm. While Eren also has the power to kill Mikasa or do whatever he wants, and Mikasa had just she definitely was the same way that, because the scene that like really made me think about this is when Eren beats the shit out of Armin.
Yeah.
Where she didn't do anything about it. Like she could have stopped it. She could have whooped Eren's ass. She didn't. And really it's because she loved him. Mm-hmm. She loved Eren so much, and she did what Ymir could never do, which was kill the king. She killed Eren. Yeah. She was the one that killed him. And even though it was legitimately like, and again, that's why I called him the Riz Master, is because like Eren definitely rizzed her up so much that she was willing to just like, she didn't want to kill him. Yeah. Even though all this was happening, she still didn't want to kill him. It was like the final thing they could have done. Yeah. So that was like a mirror image of that relationship. And I don't know if maybe that's what, because it was Mikasa that like it was the one that like made Ymir like see it, Yeah. But
I mean, throughout the entire seasons, they kept like hinting, like even in this last episode, like there's a Ymir watching Mikasa. She's like fighting the Titans and stuff, and I don't know if I quite all understand it, but yeah, Ymir somehow was responsible for Mikasa, because she even says it like, if I may hate you, but if it wasn't for you, I would never experience this life, or I would have never been born or something. Yeah. So
she thinks
so yeah, Ymir single-handedly created Mikasa to free herself to then finally kill Eren, save humanity or whatever. After this, the flashback kind of thing ends, and then it goes back to reality where Mikasa's holding Eren's head, and everyone's memory triggers all the visits that Eren did through the paths, for every single character. It's triggering memories for them, like Mikasa in the cabin, and Armin in the conversation they just had, and then all the other characters are like sitting there saying, "Oh, he told me this and that."
Yeah, and then Peaks is all, "I wish I would have talked to him." Yeah. But he also that scene was the death of all Titans. Mm-hmm. Titans no longer exist.
Yeah, because Ymir disappeared.
And this is the scene that hit me. It wasn't that the Mikasa kissing a head. It was the scene where she's carrying Eren's head, and Armin sees it.
Yeah, dude, I was tearing up on that.
I was like, yo, chill. Because it was like the voice actor, and it was just like, it was so much. And I was not expecting that scene. And because I thought he knew he was dead.
Yeah.
But
that was an Oscar award winning like
oh, man.
anime scene right
I,
there.
I teared up and my voice got raspy. I had to watch it again, and it was like, dude, like that's his best friend. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, yeah, Mikasa. I was upset about. I was like hurt by that, but it
Yeah.
was like the voice acting that really did me in,
Yeah.
the music, and it just like it was so sad. Like, and Mikasa actually even makes a statement like, I'm gonna dip out to give him a proper burial before anyone finds out I have his head.
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand what she's getting at, but she dips out, and then we get this.
You're just wondering what she was doing with the head the entire time before
Because again,
buried it.
we don't know how long this. She probably was holding on the head for like 3 hours.
No,
we don't even know.
Way longer because she's got to travel all the way back to paradise to bury it.
Oh, that too. Like, yeah, I was talking about like the scene with the head holding the head.
Oh.
Like, we got to talk about like they were fighting. And it's like the cloth had to deflate. The rubble had. It was like probably a couple hours.
Yeah.
But and then while this is all happening, we have like a political thing going on.
Yeah.
With the Eldians and the Marleys.
Yeah, the Marleyans still don't trust the Eldians about them being Titans, and then Armin has to come and negotiate his way out of there through with facts and logic.
Yeah, and he even says, "I'm the one that killed Eren.
Yeah,
I'm the one that killed him." Like he already like he knew what to say. He even removed all his gear too to show that he wasn't a threat. And now we can kind of talk about what's this after, which I'm really glad they touched on. So this and I don't know if I don't like this or if I do like it, but they had a lot of endings.
It was like multiple endings at once, kind of like
there was so much endings going on. Like even like so, do the whole this last like 20 minutes. We had like the ending of the war, ending of the battle, ending of the Eren, ending of this relationship, ending of this person, ending of this. By the way, you never told me the annihilation part of the about the character annihilations
the character annihilation.
Yeah.
I felt like Eren just kind of like threw everything to the wind and just like, I'm gonna genocide humanity. Like I felt like that wasn't part of it. I mentioned about Annie too. Armin, it's also said that Armin is Isayama, the manga writer's self-insert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like a lot of the things that he does seem not necessarily out of character, but like Armin's the hero of the story. When to me it was all about Eren.
Okay. I think Armin's the real hero, but
really, well, he is the real hero, but I felt that some of the decisions in like the final season were just like out of character. Like it was done for the sake of being done rather than in character. Like I was mentioning about Annie and like them teaming up to go save the world together. Things like that.
Yeah.
They watched Gabby. I don't really know how Gabby and Falco got there, but Gabby kills Sasha. There's a lot of just forgiving that's just to me glossed over for the sake of them working together. I feel like again, Eren was character assassinated just to like make him the evil dude for the sake of being an evil dude. Like really, like he sees all future, past, present, and he's still the only thing he can do is end humanity. Like and then they even prove it's false. Like he still doesn't save the Eldians in the end. Like he barely, very marginally saves his friends, being like Armin and Mikasa, maybe like not really Peak, but Connie. Everyone else is sacrificed. Even whenever Levi is standing at the end, and it's showing the entire the scouts. Like he sacrificed all of them. Like it was just kind of like a contrived way for Eren to want to like genocide, and like the idea of like he's doing it for the greater good when it didn't even work out. Like I didn't really like that.
Yeah, you really like smart pants that one. Yeah, big brains over here. No, it was to me that I think that Eren knew all the different alternatives, and he knew this was the only one where this is my interpretation of what I think. This is the only one where he knew Mikasa's would be safe.
Possibly, yeah.
And it was about love, about him not like I could think of this as like a romance anime if we really wanted to. I mean, although the romance is ahead, and really the big romance is Armin and Eren.
It's more of a bromance, but
yeah, they were bromancing hard. But yeah, one of the characters I didn't really think did anything in the last, not in this final part chapter. Read it to me again.
1 second.
Read me that paragraph of a title.
Attack on Titan, the final season, the final chapters, part 2.
Okay, that one. Connie didn't do shit. He might as well not have been there. Gene did something pretty epic.
Yeah.
It was good to see Connie and Gene being boys, but really, Connie did shit on
Yeah, I
this.
don't think he did.
He didn't.
Yeah.
He was just there.
Even Gabby did more because she shoots the she shoots the pork thing, right? The pig.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she shoots something with a rifle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
So she was infinitely more of an asset to the team than Connie was.
yeah, Connie didn't do shit at all. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I want to say Connie even like got Levi's leg bit. I don't remember. Could have been Gene. But anyways, so we get we get kind of this. They don't forgive him. They just don't kill him there. And now the Eldians that were the Jaegerists
Yeah.
have now started like a armada, like a little little army.
They basically start turning into I don't know, call them Nazis, but they start turning into fascists, and they're all like fucking, goose stomping up and down the street with who is that one guy?
I forget his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Again, they did say his name. I know who you're talking about too. Either way,
escaping me. Yeah, he's like the ringmaster or whatever, the leader. Hyping them all up. He's basically like telling them like, what is it, like kill or be killed? Like kill, like don't kill when we die, like kill when we live. It was something.
Yeah, well, see, the whole reason this whole army was made was it was like a response to like
to the Marleans trying to kill them.
Yeah, like they were like gearing up for like what could be a possible.
And so they don't really know what's happening outside the island because they're still, secular. They're still cut off from the rest of the world. So they're still preparing for war.
And the scouts have now been this like beacon of like peace. They're trying to go in there and like resolve the war and the conflict, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. We get a nice little we get some good scenes with like the characters here. Like
Levi's like he's passing out candy to little kids.
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair or something.
Yeah, he gets to live his life out as a cripple. Happy ending for him. He killed Zeke.
That was the happy ending he got. Which I do. I've been hearing they're going to do a prequel with Levi, which I would not mind.
Yeah.
Because Levi had that whole gang of army, that one weird random gunslinger ODM gear.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, it was. That's all I want to do is kill Zeke.
He's living his best life as a cripple.
Agreed.
Yeah. What else do they say? They give a little bit of closure.
They do the baseball and gloves where they're giving out to kids.
Yeah.
They do a weird scene where like the birds flock, implying that something big's coming, but then nothing big happens.
Yeah, I kind of saw it as like kind of like peace. Like normally like the birds would be flying away, and then here would come a bunch of titans, to go kill everybody. But here the birds are flying overhead, and
they were smiling. The kids were smiling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was kind of like a happy event.
Armin is just being Armin, leading the peace, trying to.
Yeah, I kind of like how they all take responsibility. Who is it? Like it's like Gene, Armin, Annie, Connie, of course.
Reiner.
Yeah, Reiner. It's 5 of them. Oh no, it was 6.
Peaks. She's in there too.
Oh yeah, Peak. Yeah, that's the 6 right there. Yeah.
So they're all kind of just being there.
They're the diplomats. They're heading towards Eldia to try to still broker peace because it just showed Eldia basically ramping up for war still.
Yeah, I really wanted more from. I really wanted Gabby and Falco to have a romance.
They did. It definitely showed it. Like she was blushing whenever like they meet back for the first time and they're running back at each other to hug.
And she suplexes him.
Yeah.
I see. But see, there was
and then they were like planting the tree, and it kind of hinted that they touched hands at the end. Like
I see. I wanted more. I wanted them to like end up because it does fast forward.
It's good enough for me.
I wanted like a marriage. I wanted someone to get married.
You wanted to see them. Okay, so I think someone did get married.
Who?
This is after so they have this diplomat kind of thing. I think that scene ends. They're like, okay, I'm surprised they haven't killed us, but we're gonna go on ahead.
Yeah.
And it basically shows Mikasa sitting at Eren's grave, right?
Yeah.
And so she's like, this is basically where the credits start rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Mikasa sitting at the grave, she sees herself as a little kid and she's tearing up. And then like a little bird comes and grabs her scarf that she didn't get rid of. You're right.
She didn't keep her promise. She didn't keep her fucking promise.
Yeah. And like it was kind of assumed that the bird represented like Eren, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's that. And then after that, kind of the credit scenes are rolling. It's just showing Eren's grave at the tree. And it shows, the first people to come up is like Mikasa with Armin and Jean and Peak and them, the diplomats are looking at it. And then, correct me if I'm wrong here, but as they keep going, like I assumed that it was Mikasa and her husband, which you might be able to speculate who that is or isn't.
Yeah, well, it was her grandkids eventually. I know that. Like,
Right,
her
right. So
kids.
she's there, right? So it's
Yeah.
eventually Mikasa's family, right?
Yeah.
Right. So Mikasa does eventually find someone, and like, there's even one. I assume she's holding a baby. I think it's Jean, by the way.
Mm.
That's my speculation.
I hope not. I don't see it being Jean. I don't see.
It's just some random dude.
She did share like a romantic like something with someone. I don't know if it was Jean though. It might have been.
It's not Armin.
Yeah, I don't think it's Armin either.
Yeah,
but
Armin wouldn't break the bro code like that.
Yeah, he would not. He would never break the bro code. He would never.
So I it's my speculation is Jean, and then yeah, to me it's like Mikasa and her family, and there's even like a scene where like Mikasa's an old grandma, and it's like the generations, like her kids have kids, kind of thing.
I was kind of sad to watch because there's like a funeral scene.
Yeah.
With like her holding, like it's her.
Yeah.
She has a scarf.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like she lived a life because she's probably how old do you think Mikasa is?
At what point?
Like let's not the death, but like during the battle. How old do you think she's like in her 20s?
I'd say early 20s. Yeah.
I would say like 17, 16.
Well,
they were like 14 when they went into like the regiment.
Yeah, I see. It's hard to tell how much time has passed.
Yeah.
I'd say 8 years is good enough. I don't know how long it took them to even travel across from the sea to them and that. So let's say 8 years, so 22.
That's what I'm let's say early 20s, but like really like she lived her whole life never forgetting about Eren.
Mm.
Yeah. And the credits get really good too. Like I really like the credits.
Yeah, dude, the music starts picking up and it's getting epic. Like
because really it's really not the whole time it's like Eren's not versus Eren's versus the Titans. Eren's versus Tyson. And then now it's really like Eren just trying to, he knows that peace will never come. Like, even though peace will happen, it will never sustain.
He gave peace to his friends and their families for a few generations.
But see, it will never, because it's like history will always repeat.
Yeah.
War will always come no matter what.
That's like kind of the ending theme. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's always going to happen. No matter what peace comes, it'll always end with war, and they even show like progressiveness happening, like where it's like
the society's progressing, like they're building skyscrapers and becoming futuristic and stuff, and then what happens at the end? They're getting bombed and nuked and destroyed, and the entire city gets leveled.
Exactly.
So are you saying, or not? Are you saying? Do you believe that it's the rest of the world taking revenge for his actions from destroying 80% of humanity? 100 years ago, 200 years ago, however much time has passed. Like they never really forgot that.
I don't even think it was. I think they forgot about him a long time ago.
I don't. I think that all of humanity would have remembered that time that the Eldians or the people on the island attempted to exterminate humanity, failed, and they would have held that grudge the entire time.
I think they forgot. Like I think the Eldians like whatever militia they had died out, and maybe it is. You said like kind of like maybe it was kind of like fascism and stuff like that, where it's like they no longer like I think because they'll die out. Like obviously they. I don't think that war that was happening at the end in the credits was anything related to Eldians or because you got to think it's been like 300 years and they have never been a Titan seen.
Yeah, but so like if it was any random city, you think any random city is just eventually going to be leveled by war?
Yes.
Like eventually the city that we live next to one day next 100 years, it's eventually going to just be bombed and destroyed.
Yeah, I do think it will eventually be bombed and destroyed.
New York, Washington.
Yeah, eventually there's going to be some type of war in the future. Like it's hard not to think of it because we don't know the time frame on this.
I think personally, and this is just me my take. I think it's a representation that Eren was unsuccessful, that the Eldians get wiped out anyways, and directly through his own events. He was trying to stop it, and all he did was prolong it. Yeah,
I mean, I just think he knew that there was never going to be a time where peace would be forever, and like he knew that war would always happen, which again, it's like history will always repeat itself no matter what. And no matter what's going to happen, Eren can stop it. And you're right. Maybe he knew that. He knew. But see, also, did he know? Now we're going to get a little deeper here. How far in the future can Eren see?
Only as far as the Titans existed.
So after that, when they died
He
out,
has no idea what happens afterwards.
even though he had blood, Eldian blood.
For all he knew, Mikasa and Armin and them were blown up by the Eldians as they sailed on their diplomatic mission.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have any idea what was going to happen after that. All he knew is up to the point where, because he could see the, like, remember he said he sees the past, present, and future as like one reality, like all in one like thing, and he's like, oh, my mind's like all messed up, I'm broken, like I can't think straight, like I'm an idiot, and it is that way because he can see all the Titans' memories, and so the moment that he's killed is the moment he can no longer see.
Yeah, I mean, so no, I don't think it was payment for his sins or anything like that. But I do see what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Like that, it could come back full force. We get the scene of them blowing up the world and everything like that happening.
It's not the world. They blow up specifically Eldia, like the Eldian city, because it's Eren's grave watching over.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic about it. So we see this scene, and then it finishes off. And what did you think about this last scene?
So, do you remember them explaining the worm to begin with? The very first time the worm was introduced?
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing's about to happen. He's walking up to the tree just like Ymir did, and he's going to find the power, and it's going to restart it all over again. Because Ymir found the worm like hidden in a tree.
Oh, okay.
Like
that was like the big criticism everyone has about it, is that they were saying like, is this going to happen again? How did Eren not see this? You know, like, because technically the Titans would exist again.
Would exist again. I guess I see that, but it wouldn't be through Ymir, because Ymir was like the queen of all the Titans. So it would be the beginning of the next Ymir. Like whoever's going to find this is going to be not Ymir, but
that person was going to be the new
whatever.
Ymir.
Yeah, whatever Ymir represented in the entire idea of the past and the Titans and all that, etc. He's going to be that, or I think it was a he. I don't know. Maybe the dog will be.
Be weird. No, I thought that was kind of interesting. I just was like, the tree of life, and I really like that. It seems like everything is like rubble now. Like everything just like there's nothing there, and it's just like
it also could be. Maybe you're right on that. The world is destroyed, and they got like they talk about World War III is gonna bomb us back to the Stone Age. Maybe the war between the world and Eldia just culminates in that. Everyone's reset back to farmland, because they don't really say what year it is whenever Eldia first is there. It's been a world for several thousand years because King Fitz existed thousands of years ago or whatever.
Yeah, we don't really know much about the timeline.
Yeah, so who knows? Yeah, it could, the world built up and then just reset back again.
Yeah, and you know what I was thinking about? It was like, how would they ever know the Titans ever existed? And I was thinking, oh, dinosaurs. Yeah, we know the dinosaurs existed. Maybe they were like, maybe this actually happened. They were Titans. We didn't even know. But yeah, man, this anime was fun to watch. I even though it was hard to follow, and the time that it was released, and it was 10 years should have been probably 6 years.
Yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I kind of feel bad now that we're talking about it, because there's so much to talk about. It's that good of an anime, but it's just they fumbled on some things, and the execution wasn't as impactful as it could have been. This could have been a like that one guy said, the greatest fictional writing of all time, better than anything ever written. Lord of the Rings, Attack on Titan is better.
Way better than Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
No, you're right. And if there's so many things they could have gone, and I would have. It's hard because I do invest. I invested my time and energy, and I really enjoyed all these seasons, even though there was one that was kind of boring. But it was important to the plot. But at the end of it, I truly believe that it was a great story, and I think this really topped off the ending.
Yeah, I think the ending was better than what I was spoiled on, although it followed it exactly to the T. The execution, the way they presented it, was very well done.
But I really wanted Mikasa and Eren to end up together. I wanted that to be the because if it would have just if I know this is a far-fetched idea. If they would have just died out, everyone except Eren and Mikasa, and they said that's when we changed our name to Adam and Eve, I would have been fucking blown away. If they did that, but they didn't.
He takes I wouldn't say an easy route. He gives the alternative of what would have happened, and Mikasa has the memories of the time that they could have spent together running away. Like that's because he implanted that memory in her. It's like she remembers. That's probably why she still loves him the way she does and doesn't forget about him.
Yeah, she has like a whole ass husband. She's like, hey, we got to go to my not boyfriend's grave, the one I kissed and I held his head for 7 days while I traveled over the ocean.
Yeah, it was a good story.
This is hard, dude. It was. I mean, again, 10 years, dude. I watched this.
10
I
years.
was 23, 22.
Man, you're an old ass man now.
Yeah, I was 22 when I watched this, and now it's like it's over, and like it's this is. I knew it's gonna be more emotional than I thought it was, but I know that this is a farewell to that anime.
Yeah,
and the series, and I think they really did end it on a good note. I mean, it ended on a weird note, and it got a little outlandish, but majority of the time I watched this, I really enjoyed it.
yeah. For all the ways it could have ended it was good enough. It was good enough.
Agreed. All right. Well, farewell to Attack on Titan.
Farewell, Attack on Titan.
Thank you so much for all the joy and love we got. We really did enjoy and we really did enjoy the anime, and I'm hoping for the Levi spinoff. I'm looking forward to that. But you got anything else?
Nah, Attack on Titan's probably too big of a cash cow. There's gonna be something.
There's gonna be something.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Later.